He wants to keep the escape for a pop next turn. Yeah.
Yep.
Suck.
What's going on YouTube? Cheapmaster55 here, aka LoganJYA on Twitch, and I have Aditya on the line with me right now, the winner of our most recent free tournament, playing Unchained, going undefeated. Today we're going to break through this list, go through main, side, extra, all that good stuff, and talk to the deck builder and see if we have any questions in mind. Like I said, if you're new to the channel or the stream, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and come join the stream below. We run weekly free tournaments. So without further ado, let's jump into the deck list. So to start things off, we've got the three Abominable Unchained Soul, the triple Ash Blossom, triple DD Crow, one Disaster, triple Aruha, triple Rakia, and then triple of the Sarama. So monster lineup pretty hefty on the hand traps, maxing out the Abominable Unchained Soul, and only one copy of Disasters. What do you got to say about the monster lineup, Aditya?
The monster lineup's actually pretty standard. The way you want to see it is that you want to see all the baby twins, and then you want to see the big boy Abominable Unchained Soul to chain block them. You don't want to ever see the blue dog Unchained Soul of Disaster in your hand. It's basically a brick because he's just summoned out anyways from any of the traps and any of the monsters. Gotcha.
Makes sense. And obviously this is the one that lets you link summon during your turn using your opponent's monsters. It's the one that's not in the extra deck. Following up on that, we'll go through the spells real quick. Triple Abomination's Prison, triple Dark Ruler No More, and triple Extravagance. You know, I don't even think I gotta ask you anything about this. Anything you want to say? How effective is Dark Ruler in the build? What did you think of it? Did it work for you during the tournament? And what would you do with that going forward?
With Dark Ruler, it's the same thing as like what every other deck has been playing right now. It's basically the way the games work. It's die roll right now. So Dark Ruler just has to be put in against those huge combo decks like Emancipator. Even against Synchro and Eldlich right now, it's really strong because playing through back row isn't really that difficult for Unchained. It's just the sheer amount of negates that's on board.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Alright, that takes care of spells. We're going to jump into traps real quick. We got triple of the Abominable Chamber of the Unchained. This is the special summon from Grave. Triple of the Escape. I think this one pops a card, if I'm correct. Yep. And then triple Evenly Matched and triple Infinite Impermanence. Bringing the main deck to a nice clean 40. Yeah, hefty on the traps, especially the going second traps. The Evenly Matched is obviously what's standing out to me. I think given that we're in a format with things like Emancipator, it makes sense to be main decking things like this, but is there anything that you want to say about your trap lineup?
I mean, what people just haven't really understood that much about Unchained is that you can't really see the traps as like necessarily traps even, because like on turn one they're just searchers for everything else. It's just straight gas to get your combos off, and then yeah. And then it just starts your combos and then provides control at the same time on your opponent's turn. So it's just really strong. And with Evenly Dark Ruler, because there's the whole Needle Fiber combo out right now, both are just really good options. Evenly Match is a good answer to Eldlich. Dark Ruler No More is a good answer to Emancipator. Sometimes I see each one at the right time, sometimes I don't, but I mean, that's just the way the game is.
Very fair, very fair. So, I guess the last thing I want to ask before we jump into the side deck is, were you opting to go second when you won the die roll? Or, would this... I think given how it looks, and if I recall correctly, you do. I just want to make sure.
So I actually had a very interesting strategy coming into any game with Unchained. Typically, I'd opt to blind second in the first game, and that would make my opponent kind of think, hey, this guy is trying to play a blind second deck. So game 2, he'd essentially make me go first. Perhaps I win that because I sided correctly, perhaps I don't. Then if game 3 comes into play, I always opt to go first. So I'm making my opponent assume that I'm playing second, so they side to go first and don't side any of the heavy removal. Why I end up siding in a lot of going first stuff, siding out the Dark Rulers and the Evenlies, and just completely throwing my opponent off.
Gotcha. All right. Sounds good. I like it. Now we're going to hop into the side deck real quick. So I'm going to go through everything relatively fast. We got the triple artifact Lancia, the 1 artifact Scythe, triple Cosmic Cyclone, triple Lightning Storm, double Artifact Sanctum, double Rivalry of Warlords, and then 1 Trap Trick. And that wraps up the side deck. What do you got to say about that, Aditya?
It's the same thing I just said before with
yeah,
kind of siding to go first in game 3 and game 2. Well, potentially going first in game 2. Lancia is just really strong right now with Orcus running around. Even against Eldlich, it's strong. Against Adamancipator, if they can't vanish to summon Block Dragon, you're essentially stalling them out for a turn, which gives you time to make your plays. And the reason I'm playing the Scythe, 2 Sanctum, and 1 Trap Trick is because if you haven't noticed, I'm playing essentially all normal traps. And Trap Trick can just tutor out any one of them. So if I see a Trap and Trap Trick, then depending on what it is, like I don't need to play the 3rd Sanctum because the second one after is just a brick.
Right. All right, makes sense, and I think that's interesting. Would you ever consider playing more Trap Tricks if you had the space for it?
Unfortunately, I was thinking about it, but because Trap Trick does lock you into the hard once per turn trap card, it's not optimal to see it like multiple times really. And plus, you wanna be popping your own traps on your turn, so you don't necessarily want to always see Trap Trick. It's more just like extra cannon fodder for Sanctum, Chamber, and just to get them out on your opponent's turn, not even on your turn.
Cool, makes sense. And now let's finish things off with the extra deck. So we've got triple of the Unchained Soul of Rage, triple of the Unchained Soul of Anguish, the red boy, triple of the Unchained Abomination, the Link 4, 1 Topologic Zeraboros, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Boral Sword Dragon, 1 Boral Load Dragon, and then finally 1 Access Code Talker. So I guess the only questions I have about the extra deck, it seems all very simple, self-explanatory. Obviously you're maxing out on the Unchained Archetype monsters because that is your fodder for your main deck. It makes a lot of sense. I wanted to ask, how many times did you end up going into Access Code in the recent history, and did you ever end up summoning Zoroboros, or would you use that slot on something else going forward?
For one, Access Code is actually just insane. It's like probably, in my opinion, the best extra deck card outside of Needle Fiber. It's probably like the best extra deck boss monster right now. Honestly, way better than Boral Sword. And speaking of like Boral Sword and Boral Load, I feel like I really just shouldn't play them because the deck revolves around summoning Link monsters with only 2 materials, and Boral Load and Boral Sword just don't work. Mm-hmm. As for Zeraboros, the reason I put that spot in is if I were to per se Dark Ruler an opponent's combo board, it wouldn't be that hard to make a Zeraboros and just clear their field immediately and then summon back next turn like an 8,000 Zeraboros and swing for game.
Makes sense to me. Zeraboros is a very strong card just for the removal fact on its own. I sometimes get locked in the mentality of he comes out, he's big from Grand Maju, but yeah, absolutely a phenomenal card when it comes to banishing the whole field. So, any closing thoughts before we wrap this up, Aditya?
The way I built this deck to essentially blind second, but the way I feel like the format's been moving, especially with the whole jet combo making VFD, which is very scary. I feel like the deck should really be put into a going first position. I don't think the Dark Rulers should leave because they're a necessary going second option. But I feel like the say like 3 evenly and maybe a DD Crow could come out for the artifact package, and we can just start going first instead of going second.
Makes sense to me. Well, hopefully we can see it next time in our next free tournament. Thank you, Aditya, so much for going through your deck profile with us. I hope to see you in the next free tournament. Thank you for your time, man, and that's everything I got for you guys today. LoganJYA, aka Cheatmaster55, signing off. Have a great night.